Keshav, look at the moonlit spectacular crystal cascade of water in its complete spectrum. See her completeness as she touches your divine feet and sways away poignantly to the dimensions of the mortals, where every day is a story of walking protagonists. It seems like a theatre, of one I have been once a part to. Though the curtains are down, but Sakha, this Sakhi, still wears the essence of Draupadi somewhere in her soul space. The surreal turn of the events of Mahabharata amazes me still about your skills of running the universe. You, me, and the whole Galoka knew the epicenter of the gruesome battle, yet we all played along to the tunes of your flute. Govind, I sometimes wonder, who is the controller? The flute? Or is it you? On the barren lands of Panchal, they solicited in the unknown waters. They accepted penance till their bones dried up to simulate parched twigs. They called upon the demigods and more to serve to their course of remorse and revenge. Finally, the night had come, an ominously dark one in particular. The gestational clouds conspired to break into a million morceaux to warn the civilization of their forthcoming doom. But the fire of Yajna this time shone bright blue from the red, and stepped out a shining young man. Valor and pride masked his innocence like a con man. Rumors and assumptions were engulfing the young boy, who happened to be my brother. But when the fire shone the brightest once for all, in blue with the hues of gorgeous red and orange, stumbled out a gracious woman, dark as the smokes of the fire, eyes like the ocean encased in a lotus jar. Stepped out the pulchritudinous maiden of the century, the most beautiful maiden the history had ever known. Yagnaseni, Draupadi, Sakha, I, your Sakhi, was born out of the yajna that day.
Want a husband, Muchik achapati chahi. I want a husband, Muchik achapati chahi. I want a good husband. Oh really? Alright. Remembering Indra's plight, Shambhu disappeared from sight. Sachi, oh dear Indrani, your complexion white, your longing will be rewarded. 5 births alone his curse will be eroded. Join as one from Putraki Mishtitas coded. Etaivani to remain young forever. Never did a lady in Dwapyog been so beautiful. Krishna Yagnasimi Sarangi Malini, fragrant full, enchanting like that of a blue lotus. Shri Sachi Lakshmi, no Khan I won't have thee. Such pushed again my hand, no way, flee. When such a handsome Brahmin has won over all of my kin, have me choked up beyond sobbing. Enjoy, is this Dhananjaya my loving? String the bow, release the arrow, burn away all my sorrow, for there is no other to secure my tomorrow. Dear Kunti, am I of service to thee? Guide my young heart and bless thee. Mother of my love, I will do anything. Whether it's 1 or 5, I am there, Pandavi.
Krishna, regardless the veils of Maya, the idiosyncratic bond we share never fades away in time. The fragrances linger like the feel of autumn in our minds. Only you knew how much I desired you in the depths of my soul. But they thought the union between a man and a woman was the 7 rounds around the sacred fire with the burning vermilion scars in between the parted hairs. Remember the day when we once again met in the royal realms and you called me by my name for the first time? Krishna, oh Krishna! A million stars exploded in my entire being. I was teleported to the conscious sense of being held in your divine arms till the end of eternity. I saw myself harmonized in you like we were never apart. Can you ever set the water apart from the snow? Or see the notes from a song? No. Then the day of Swayamvar arrived like a dark cloud before a flash flood. I walked in there only to hope to see you smile. But I found myself objectified. I knew it. It was not the fish eye, but mine which was the target. The cold silk and veil couldn't quite mask the desire of the men in the royal court to take me home to rule over my body. Not that I despised the burning men inflicting pleasures on my delicate, transparent skin, but I desired the blue-skinned Makhan Chor.
Imbued with the fragrance of ambrosial delight, my skin gleaming with shades of gloaming, covered in yards of opulent red silk with a sheen worthy of dazzling the very sun. Restless on his chariot, waiting to appear on the horizon to steal a glance of my lotus eyes. Fiery as the fire that I'm one with, the nimbus flowing down from my scalp up to my knees, braided extravagantly with jewels and precious stones of Elysian beauty. The elation of my heart creating an aura, blinding even the most resplendent cosmic deity. My pride, my honor, oozing from every cell of mine. I, Empress Draupadi, Queen of Indraprastha, wife of the mighty Pandavas, prestige of Kuru dynasty, owner of the most magnificent palace ever imaginable, the likes of which the world has never known, enticing and engendering envy, encompassing all the kingdoms around the world, all rendered complacent to my husbands. Visiting the palace of Hastinapur, the palace that was never kind, that never accepted me and mine, that brewed hatred of such ferocity, that fabricated plots and lies. Treachery flows in the veins of those who dwell as king and princess, ready to usurp the rightful place of ours, who manipulated to give us a venomous barren land that we tamed with our toil, turning it into a virid, verdant, fertile, birthing the luxuries and grandeur never seen or heard by this mankind, with ruse of bleak past and magnanimity of precious paisley present. I want them to see the glory of my husbands and I brought to our ancestors. I want the blind king to see myriad of ebullient colors flashed on his retina with the splendor we were about to bring. I wanted him to feel that despite him depriving us of our rights, our strengths, our very sunshine, we burgeoned like night jasmine under the moonlit sky, spreading our indestructible fragrance throughout this world. And the moment arrived. The gates of Hastinapur that once saw our languid, grief-burdened backs welcomed us, embracing our new titles, our power, revered and well-renowned. With the confidence and pride befitting a queen, I exchanged courtesies with my kin. No murmurs, no laugh, unabashed reached my ears this time. They knew better whom they were dealing with this time. The whole palace, illuminated with glamorous festivities, welcomed us inside. But for the first time, I felt a pang of premonition, as if chills of a tragic fate were waiting to freeze the fire within me, to enslave the free phoenix that I embody. I shrugged the feeling away. I reminded myself that I, Yagyaseni, wife of the most powerful king, can't be struck by mangled talons of misfortune. I just wanted to sip the molten glory served in a golden goblet by the ones who once denied us our rights. The spellbinding hospitality, the flattery, the grandiose palaces arranged for our stay, the majestic gestures on display, the days spent in vehement chatting, the intoxicating nights of sinful pleasure spent gambling and drowning in ethereal ecstasy, lulled us down, leading to lower the guards we have so firmly set to protect us from the hyenas wearing the skin of those whom we called our kin. Days went by, drifting in a frenzy. Yudhishthir, fond of playing the game of dice, won every single game, every single night. My husband's happily enjoying their stay, while I, after the initial euphoria, ephemeral like a soap bubble, burst into oblivion, came back to my senses, foreboding reverberating in my very spine. I wanted to be back at my palace. I nagged, I begged till my husband complied. But the stars aligned, announcing my doom on the last night of our stay. A last game of dice, an intricate web of lies, a devious plan in motion to turn this queen of might to a destitute, a figure of shame in everyone's sight. Harbinger of my misfortune, the raven in guise of a court's messenger came at my doorstep. A somber summon by wickedness incarnated, Duryodhan, was sent for me. The queen who can't be summoned by anyone other than the king or her husbands, the queen who is fire incarnated, the true starlight, was called like a meager peasant. I felt singed, my skin burning, refused this blasphemy, sending him away. But in my bones I could feel walking misery was on its way. In no time, my fear materialized in the form of Dushasana. With a maddening look in his eyes and a leer on his evil face, he entered my room unceremoniously. My look of contemptuous hate wasn't enough to keep him at bay. Boasting their win over Yudhishthir, who not only lost his kingship, Pandava's free will and my beloved palace, but me? As if I was a lifeless object to be used. Darkness, viscous, solid darkness spread around my eyes. Numbed, I felt piercing shots of ice going deeper and deeper in my heart. Unbearable pain jerked me awake. I was being dragged by my hair, forced out of my haven, against my will, my stolen free will. I couldn't take it, no. My will, my sovereignty is interminable. It can't be won over. I struggled, I kicked, I punched, but everything in vain. His mirthless laughter was sickening. I felt as if my scalp will be detached. The countless bruises that were taking birth as he dragged me barbarically through the hallways, the stairs, and finally into the courtroom were nothing to what was about to come. The physical bruises would heal, but they have planned to murder my dignity, my self-respect, my modesty. I was thrown in the middle of the courtroom. It took me a moment to gather myself. I was bleeding outside and inside. My finest garments ripped at places, fallen from grace, not able to do me justice. I could see my husbands kneeling with their heads bowed down, not meeting my eyes. My tearful, reddened eyes filled with rage and disappointment. My husbands, whom I trusted more than my life, who sworn to protect me from any harm, indestructible together, valiant warriors, right in front of me, writhing as helpless vermin. It broke me. It broke my patience. It broke my hope. Insinuating laughter erupted all around me. Insults were being hurled, hurting my pride, my prestige. I, who epitomized chastity, I, pure as fire itself, was belittled to perverse profanity. They dared to look at me like a courtesan. They dared to shatter my soul. I reasoned with the wise Pitama Bhishma, Acharya Drona, the just Vidhur, my Yudhishthir. How are they letting this sin occur? I am not men's property to be lost or won in a game. I am not an object to be owned. I am a human with a free will. I am a force. I can't be caged. I can't be slaved. No one listened. Everyone was silent, impotency running in their veins, each and every one of the person whom I ever put my trust in, impotent, sat silently seeing my humiliation.
The darkness was back again. I wasn't able to breathe. The darkness was choking me. This time the loud voice of Duryodhan brought me out of it. He asked the Shasana to punish me as I have contemned the court by not accepting my fate, and hence I was to be disrobed. Disrobed in front of the whole court, filled with men to whom few moments ago I was a queen, mother to her subjects, a daughter-in-law, a sister-in-law, even if not this, still a woman with modesty, with respect, with soul, with emotions, not a plaything. The helplessness smothered me, the pain piercing every cell of mine, not able to take this disparaging humiliation. Tears of anger, tears of helplessness, tears of broken trust, tears of pure hatred were flowing down my cheeks. I thought of my father, my brother. Would they have let it happen to their Draupadi? Would they have been able to see me in such a state? Their princess, their pride, always adorned in the best, always redolent like roses, now unable to keep a yard of cloth on her body. Heart was bleeding, their absence killing me every infinitesimal moment passing by. Death would be better than this trampling of my very essence. For this thought came his dazzling smile in front of me, and everything else didn't exist. Keshav, my friend, my guide, my soul, save me, Kanha. Save me from this unbearable pain, save me. And I surrendered myself to the light he embodies, to the bliss he is. And I felt no pain, no regret, no anger, no shame, just him telling his stories and I laughing like we used to. And when I came back to my senses, now it was Dushasan on the ground, weakened, breathless. Yards and yards of my sari tangled on the floor, and I still draped, with intact modesty, with intact soul, while the soulless, shameful court sat in amused silence that screamed of the unforgivable sins they have just committed. Gandhari and Kunti have entered the court, condemning it and coming near me to console. The peace I felt vanished like a long-lost dream. I stopped them. I have had enough. The rage was again surging like a snake inside me, unfurling and ready to strike. I spewed venom. I cursed every man in the court to a life condemned until they died a horrific death. I wanted to bathe in their blood. I wanted to be avenged. I wanted a war that would devour them, all of them, for their sins, for their lowly existence, for the pain they have caused, equally for those who perpetrated and those who witnessed silently. I became nothing but an impending doom that cannot be stopped, that cannot be delayed, that will be the reason for Mahabharata.
The fateful day when the war began in substance is etched in the nerves of my heart till forever. The vivid memories of the echoes of the grotesque laughter in the royal Alcazar eclipsed my very existence. while I stood there like the burning effigy. The wilted tears now stunned in my eyes, tried and failed to anchor on a port for some assuagement from the depths of the stone hearts of unknown strangers. Sakha, Govind, Krishna. My eyes, tired from the bloodsheds, yet burning with shame, found solace in those lotus eyes of yours. I was not a body to be disrobed anymore. I was the eternal part of the Lord of Goloka. Achyutam Keshavam Krishna Damodaram Ram Narayanam Janaki Vallavam. I realized my ship had drowned amid the Neptune of the living deads. I was left with nothingness, and surrendering to the Almighty was my only hope. I was no longer a mortal bound by the mortal laws. I had eloped with time to my primitive self. Once again, I was Krishna. Bitterness culminated into the great war on the pretext of chaining me and my heart. Alas, but my heart remained with you, and no one knew. Achyutam Keshavam Krishna Damodaram Ram Narayanam Janaki Vallavam. The time flattens a rock, and it was my mind. I surrendered to the fate like a drop of sweat on the tender skin of the slender neck under the cool breeze. They de-plumped me by my hairs when I was bleeding for Mother Earth. They toyed with my vanity, not knowing their pending portions of fate. I saw you there, Kanha. I saw you. Amid the rising monstrosities, I saw you there. I saw the strings of the puppets moving in the air. I leaped forward to dissever them and question you. That's when it happened again. I was suspended in the air while your flute whispered hymns of the ancient times in my ears. Shri Krishna Govind Hare Murari, He Nath Narayanam Vasudeva. I never wanted the war, but was I in control? The days made of sapphires and silk was soon morphing into the meadows of crimson shame. I screamed to stop it, but the damage was already done. I was hateful, remorseful, jealous, and green. And so was Bharatvarsha. My hairs, like the coiled snake, waited for blood of Duryodhan. My tongue became the curse of the yogis for all the men. But my heart saw the light. Yet a voice told me to follow nothing but the bloodshed. Forgiveness and angst were the paradox veiling our fugacious self. A race of humanity was at stake. The aftermath of the mass devastation was larger than the death itself. I knew in my heart that Dharma would prevail once again. But who would be accountable for the mass destruction? The blood of us and them had the same color which seeped into the veins of Dharitri. They said Draupadi was the epicenter of Mahabharata. But Govind, was she? Wasn't it the mysterious king of yours to restore balance of dharma on earth? Wasn't it a part of the show? I falling in love with Arjun, the Tritya Pandav, and ending up marrying all of them? Wasn't it the pre-arranged story where I would be the stake my husbands would lose to Duryodhan? Wasn't it already decided fate of each one of us to gear up to give birth to the great Mahabharata? The day I fell into the steep ditch on the way to our Mahaprasthan, I saw it all in a flash. My faded memory gushed back and I knew I was way back home. I was way back to you. I knew the truth. I knew it all. But only with the tainted glass of Mayajal. Now that I am you and you are me, Sakha, I can feel the pain, the ecstasy, the sorrows, the laughter, the fear, the illness, the hatred, and the monstrosity that inflict your heart every time mortals submerge themselves in the whirlpools of emotions. Sakha, I may be the same you, but this me will desire you till the darkness exists, till the end of the universe, till the end of time, and remain submerged in your divine love. Sometimes as Lakshmi, sometimes as Radhe, sometimes as Meera, and sometimes as Sita, and sometimes as me, Draupadi, and sometimes as every soul taking birth on earth, only anxious enough to return back to you, to your heart. Yada yada hi dharmasya glani bhavati bharata avyuthama dharmasya tadatmane suja maham.